Hello everyone, my name is Peliza Pratiwi. Today I'm going to explain three types of text: report text, analytical exposition text, and argumentative text. In this video, I will mostly focus on the mind maps because the summaries and the key points clearly and make the difference between each text easier to understand. I will also give short comments about the example text, provide the slide. So, let's go begin in the first one. So, first one, we have report text. So, a report text is text that give a factual and general information about something. Usually it discuss about animal, natural phenomenon, or objects scientifically. Now, if you look at the mind maps, in the first important point is the communicative purpose. The purpose of text report is describe things in the way they are. And this means the writer focus on the fact and not opinion. Then the text branch in the mind map is general structure. So there's two main parts: general clarification and description. General classification introduces the topic generally. In the example text, the platypus is introduced as semi-aquatic mammal and monotherm. Then the description section explains about the detail of physical appearance, habit, and behavior. Personally, I think the example is very informative because the sound is scientific and organized. The writer explained the platypus clearly using factual information instead of personal feelings. Now, let's look at the language feature branch. The text is usually simple present tense because it explains the fact that the way they are. It's also used technical and scientific terms like electroception and monotherm. This word make this text sounds academic and formal. Another feature is general nouns because it talks about the platypus in general, not about specific animal. Overall, the mind maps show the report text is objective, factual, and knowledge based. Now, we have analytical exposition. Analytical exposition is text that use persuade readers that about something is true or important. For the mind maps, we can immediately see the central focus is persuasive. The writer also supports one side of an issue and tries to convince the reader using logical argument. Now, let's talk about the structure in the shown mind map. There are three parts: thesis, argumentative, reinteraction, and the thesis introduces this issue and the writer opinion. The argument contains the reason and evidence supporting that opinion, and then reiteration restate the writer position strongly at the end. The example is talk about global warming and the climate change. Honestly, I think this is a strong example because the writer combines scientific information with persuasive argument. For example, the text mentioned greenhouse gases, fossil fuels, and scientific consensus to support the idea of climate change, mainly focus on human activity. The language feature is the mind map, so support persuasion. The text used evaluative language like extensive evidence and dramatically. These words make the argument sound stronger and more convincing. It also used connectives such as however, to, and consequently to connect the idea logically. Overall, analytical exposition text focus on a convincing reader using one-side argument and evidence. Now, we have argumentative text. So, argumentative text is actually text that discuss both sides of the issue. From the mind map, the main idea is balance and discussion. The purpose is to help the reader understand the different perspectives before forming conclusion. Now let's see the structure. There are three parts, which is issue, argument for and against, and the conclusion. It is introduce the topic being discussed. Then the text presents advantages and disadvantages. And finally, the conclusion, summaries, and the discussion. The example in the text discuss about mobile phones. I think this example is relatable because mobile phones are part of everyday daily life. The text explains disadvantage like a financial problem, privacy issue, and health concern. But at the same time, it also explains the advantages such as emergency, communication, and entertaining feature. Because both sides are explained, the discussion feels balanced and fair. The language feature it also matches the purpose. So the text uses transition word like nevertheless and the other hand as and as the consequence. The words help organize the discussion clearly. The text also uses modal verb and mental verb to express opinion and possibilities. So overall, argumentative texts help the reader see multiple perspectives instead of focusing on only one side. So, in the conclusion, the main differences about this text is I want to briefly highlight the differences between the three texts, which is report text focused on the factual and information, analytical exposition focused on the persuading readers using one-side arguments, and meanwhile the argumentative text discuss both sides and issue before reaching the conclusion. So even though all of them discuss information and idea, their main purpose are very different. So, to conclude, the mind maps help understand the purpose, structure, and language feature of each text more easily. Report text is factual, informative. Analytical exposition is persuasive and one-sided. And the argumentative text is balanced and discuss both sides. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.